I define love as caring for another person absolutely, unconditionally, and in an embodied way.
Crystallization is defined as the process where one often sees and exaggerates the positive aspects of their romantic interest, while at the same time becoming increasingly blind to their negative aspects or faults. Let's take a look at how crystallization is viewed by different people and whether its relationship to love has changed over time.
You're good.
Do you believe that people fall in love with another person or simply the idealized, perfected idea of another person?
Okay. I think... Wow, these questions are so deep. I think you can have both. I really think you can have both. Love and like the idea of like romantic interaction and like deep connections with other people. I think it's totally possible to become so euphorically just like in awe and in love with like this idea of a person. That's not to say that you don't fall in love with other people. I think there's so many instances of people truly falling in love with another person, and I think to get to that level of love, that takes time, and that's a beautiful thing.
I think people first get interested in someone based off of like their over idealized versions of them, but then when they actually fall in love, I think they fall in love with the actual person. Like all of a sudden, like everything becomes amazing. You're like, oh, they're like simple things, like oh, they're so smart, or like they're nice to their mom, which means they're like amazing, blah 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 blah. And then as you get to know them, they're either like actually those things or they're not, and you were just over exaggerating it. So then you can't proceed to fall in love actually unless there's some substance to them as people.
Do you think the strongest types of love require crystallization?
I think the strongest types of love is probably the love that doesn't have crystallization. True love is like seeing someone and like accepting their flaws.
I think it's necessary because you should find yourself like really really loving all the things that they love or are good at, and like you shouldn't want to be picking out all of their negative aspects or even really being aware of them at the beginning.
Ooh. Do the strongest types of love require crystallization? I don't think it's a requirement. If I'm understanding crystallization correctly, I feel as if crystallization could almost be something that occurs more frequently in like shorter term romantic interactions that maybe like don't go as deep. I think like for the strongest types of love, I feel as if it can have crystallization, but I feel as if like the strongest types of love are a product of like so many other factors, including getting to know the person as they truly are.
So, as technology continues to develop today and in the future, how do you think it will change the way that love develops or forms, and how will this affect crystallization?
I feel as if like that, like, oh my gosh, like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, I feel as if those are all things that will augment the crystallization, will augment crystallization because you're not telling the whole story necessarily. However, I think it depends on how the technology is used, like especially social media. If we're not, if we start to forget that like people have their like struggles and like engage like with whatever tribulations, then I feel as if that would even like further distort the extent to which crystallization occurs.
Like people will still interact with each other in real life to an extent, but I don't think people will look to forge relationships beyond like business encounters in real life anymore. You can already start to see it happening where like it's like as human beings, this is like our business professional selves, and then online is where you can like have casual conversations and things like that. So people aren't meeting at like libraries or coffee shops or grocery stores or at parties really anymore. It's like it's all online, and then the in real life stuff is organized after. And so I think it'll just increase crystallization because we'll only see the good parts. We'll literally be blind to the bad parts that we would otherwise have diminished anyways.
Well, thinking about like what social media is like people putting like their best image forward, you know, like just like my Instagram would probably have like the best pictures of me, right? I wouldn't post something where like it looked bad. So I think it would in a sense contribute to crystallization because you're only seeing like all these good things and like not that it's making you more blind to the flaws, but I mean, it doesn't like, I guess in a way, even allow you to see those flaws.
And cut. Thank you so much.
Thank you.